let's we're gonna get some people. I'll wait for some people to join up in the chat. I'm walking. You guys see the incredible title for today's broadcast. We're having some internet issues yesterday. I was planning on going live with my daughter. She's gonna help me with my crystal and gemstone live shows. I got and the items are going quick because I've been putting on summer clearance up on my website. So you'll see some products are out of stock up on there, but I'm gonna be um, and there's hundreds of items still up there, but I'm putting more items up every day to replace the ones that are gone. And some of them are one of a kind. All of them are one of a kind, but I have similar stones of some of the other products, but some of the crystal skulls are just master carved, unique, one of a kind. The extra large moonstone crystal skull was just claimed yesterday, last night. So that one was a big one. That was half price on sale too. So that was a really good one. That was the peach moonstone extra large crystal skull with the flash all over the face. Really incredible skull. Really awesome craftsmanship. The Himalayan quartz crystal skulls are going really fast as well. And a lot of the other ones up there too. What's up, everybody? You guys can see the incredible title right from my upcoming book. And I can't release all the information in my book, of course. I gotta save some of it for the book because a lot of it has already been taken. A lot of the stuff that I've been talking about already, and it's for everybody out there. All I'm doing is rediscovering the origins of what became mythology, which most of mythology is actually poetic and metaphors of very advanced forms of not just science, spirituality, but some of the secrets of the universe and of nature and its spiritual implications. Really incredible. And this is where it eventually became mythology, is how they gave some advanced knowledge about the universe and of nature that they truly didn't understand anymore, that was passed down to them in certain ways, in oral traditions even, and was given earthly names and earthly situations for them to remember the stories, and some of the incorporated phrases and metaphors actually have some veiled, very incredible knowledge in there. And for something that is a solar mythology of the gods, and that to line up with our solar sciences, most advanced solar sciences and plasma sciences of today, is incredible. That's called evidence, right? So it's not that they were writing about some insignificant topic. They're talking about the solar knowledge of the gods, right? And they all have golden rings associated with the sun. And of course, we have the golden loops that are formed from magnetic field lines right from the sun. It's incredible. And I'm going to be showing you some of the most incredible tales, all the way from the Hindus to the Hopi, are talking about advanced sciences and the spiritual significance within it. Now, science and spirituality is fused together, right? And what's incredible about Indra is, first, if you want to start reading the ancient Vedas and the various cultures that stem for it, Aryan, Indo-Aryan, everything from Persian to the Hopi, influenced by the Vedas and are derived, their ancestors basically of the ancient Asura and Deva clans all over the planet. What we know is all influenced by the ancient Vedic civilization. That is the oldest civilization that we know of, and it has influenced the worldwide network. And as these Asura Deva clans, these five main Vedic peoples of the ancient world, you had the Yadus, the Anus, the Druyus, uh, the what was it? There's a few, there's all these different ones, but this is where you get all these, you know, cultures like the Druids, the Anunnaki, the Persians, the Assyrians, right? They all come because these five main Vedic people, these are solar kings, solar dynasties, the ones that are harnessing the god, the knowledge of the suns and the stars, right? They were broken down basically in the Vedic writings as and Vedic literature as two classes: the Brahmins, the priests, and the warriors, right? So you have, but to be an adept, to be part of the Asura Deva clans, because at once they were united and both were divine and in harmony with the flow of the universe and nature, and not misusing the knowledge that they were harnessing and a part of, right? They started to specifically work with specific suns and stars to rule as gods in those suns and stars planetary systems, right? And this broke cosmic law, harmonic law, however you want to, the sound and flow of the music of the universe. That flow was broken, that law was broken, right? And this is a disharmony that caused on Earth as well. This is part of this is one of the planets that it happened on, and I'm sure not the only one. And now we have ancient cultures that have derived from that misuse of power, misuse of ancient knowledge, and a lot of the ancient knowledge is veiled in what became mythology and oral traditions. And almost all of it has to do with the sun and stars, and literally the streams of plasma, the oceans of plasma and rivers of plasma that come from them. All the rivers of the afterlife stories are rooted in ancient knowledge about the sun and stars. And one of the oldest ones that we have is the story of Indra and the Naga Vritra. Right? Vritra is coiled around the earth in cosmic waters. She's the night sun, right? And she lays flat on the night side. She is the Magnetotail of science today. And Vritra literally steals the cattle of Indra. And in Vedic metaphor and in adept literature, the cattle of Indra stands for the light of the sun, the rays of the sun, the information coming from the sun. And of course, if you know anything about plasma physics and the way the magnetosphere works, the magnetotail stretches out on the night side. It swallows in the rays of the sun, and it gets all chaotic in there, and then the dragon breathes out auroras at the poles and in various breakthroughs in the magnetosphere. And it all has to do with the night sun, the night side, and the rising of dawn. And this is all in the myth of Indra and Vritra as he releases the solar waters. And Vritra steals the cattle of Indra, stealing the light of the sun. And in my book series, I'm going to be showing in detail, illustrated, how Vritra is the Magnetotail And she also, Tiamat of Sumerian, is the Magnetotail, and various other myths. That is not really mythology, but advanced knowledge, both spiritual and scientific. Because in ancient past, they were fused together to be an adept spiritual initiate. The Asura and the Devas, they were both shaman, warriors, scientists, doctors, all in one, astrologers, surgeons. They were they were scientists and warriors, and some expressed more the warrior element, some expressed more of the shaman priesthood side. And this is where also you get later on in the shepherd kings and the all of this is rooted in solar knowledge. Do you realize even the crooked staff comes from the coronal loop, right? Pulls in the solar shepherd. He is literally the sun king, right? And he's taking his crooked staff to pull in the cattle, right? To pull in the goat who moves from rock to rock in the waters, the way the information moves through the plasma waves. And the shepherd's which is the coronal loop, goes and pulls back in the information from the sun, the golden noose of the gods. And this is the name of my new book. So if people want to steal it, I've been copywriting it here, trademarking it here. But the golden noose of the gods is the name of my new book series. And it all has to do with the information, the light coming from the sun. The same coronal loop in Egypt is the Ankh, and in Hindu and Vedic, it is the Pasha of Varuna. Now, Varuna is the god of the ocean, but not just the ocean on Earth. He's the solar ocean god, right? He's the god of the plasma waters. Same with Indra. And they just show different aspects and knowledge of the sun and different attributes of the sun. Same with Ganesha, who also wields the Pasha, which is described as a golden lasso, who lassos souls and pulls them into the celestial waters, and also who he takes that lasso to remove the evil on earth. And it also, they describe it moving like snakes in the cosmic waters. This is all advanced plasma. In my opinion, it is a sentient plasma universe, right? It's not an electric universe, but there's electrical properties within the plasma, and there's the magnetism, and all of that is involved. It's, we are little microcosms of suns and stars ourselves in many ways. I don't have all the answers, but I have some of the aromas of the origins of this information that the universe has been showing me. I think I'm completely right with it, but I know I'm on the right track of the origins. And I could show it scientifically, and I could show it spiritually in many ways. And some of I do believe this part of my mission here, some of the scholars who's been asking questions for the last couple of 100 years, I do believe I'm going to be able to answer some of those questions in related to what some of the mythologies we're talking about, of not just Aryan mythologies, which unfortunately when you say the word Aryan, people think just of German and Nazi, which it has nothing to do with that. What happened is Nazis and Hitler, he took some of the Aryan ideologies and twisted them. He took some of the information from the Aryan and misinterpreted it. See, a lot of people, when they're talking about the golden hair of the Aryan kings, they're talking about the golden hair of the sun. When you're talking about the golden cords, the golden hair of Phobos, the golden hair of Apollo, this is the way, when you have special sight of the sun, you can see its golden hairs, cords, magnetic field lines coming from the sun. And you could see even Native American myths, they talk about sun catcher myths, where the sun is attached by these cords. They're talking about magnetic field lines. They're not primitively describing the sun. They're advancedly describing the sun and misinterpreting it. Tribes were misinterpreting the knowledge and putting very earthly attributes to it and names, right? And this was done over and over in the past. But there's advanced knowledge in there that's just been misinterpreted by various generations going on all the time, right? When they talk about the golden hairs of all these solar deities, and you see the golden, wheels coming out, the wheels with the golden spikes. This is very advanced knowledge that we are misinterpreting. But to adepts and initiates, they were in the know at one time. Right? Even certain dynasties were misinterpreting this knowledge, but the knowledge was reawakened in various dynasties in various ways and misused in various ways. You could see certain ancient solar knowledge was reawakened in the later 18th dynasty, and it started with Amenhotep III, the father of Akhenaten, and he was working with the Sekhem energy, the solar feminine energy, right? And he had all these statues and temples to Sekhmet or Sekhet made of granite, right? And there's all advanced symbolism of plasma and the snakes moving through the waters, the electricity moving through the plasma, right? The asp over the sun, the asp snake over the sun, and that hooded cobra is the coronal loop coming from the sun, and the way it travels like a snake as well, right? That hooded cobra is the loop. It's the golden hooded cobra, right? The seven-headed Naga with the 7 golden loops. This is the way loops form on the sun, plasma loops. They even talk about the battle between becoming from a solar flare to a coronal mass ejection and how it forms a sunspot. These in ancient Vedas, the rays of light comes from the spotted cow. The spotted cow are the sunspots of the sun. Cow is another reference as the feminine properties of the sun, and the destructive and both the destructive and the creative forces of the sun as well. And you get that Shakti power of Vedic that stems down to the Sekhmet, that SKT of Egyptian. That doesn't just have to do with the Kundalini spinal current of humanity. That also has to do with the solar feminine force of the sun coming down on its red wings, clothed in the red wings, like Sekhmet is described in the Book of the Dead. Fiercely coming from the sun, clothed in her red wings. All right, so Vritra is the Tiamat. Right, Vritra is the Magnetotail stealing the light, stealing the cattle of Indra. And you'll see many of the Naga mandalas, they're all about twisting snakes that form loops, right? This is very important, right? Because twisting magnetic field lines is what form these plasma loops, right? And this is how this is also a weapon of the sun. And these travel through the cosmic waters, just like the Naga. All these twisting snakes that form loops with wings in the background, like the Caduceus. That doesn't necessarily, there's dualities to these symbols, but everybody translates that as DNA, when in actuality, these are solar symbols. The wings represent the solar wind. The twisting snakes are forming these loops inside the twisting snakes, right? And they ultimately had a ball at the top, right? So literally, it's talking about the sun, the solar wind, and the twisting magnetic field lines that form the golden noose of the gods. All in that. That is the golden noose of the crooked staff of Hermes. This is the crooked staff has that hoop for a reason. This is why they use hooked birds, you know, like swans, the swan maidens with their water nymphs of creation, right? And all of the duck references and the goose references and birds with crooked necks. And at the end of their crooked necks, when their information comes in the sun from electron form and it enters into the magnetosphere, it makes sounds like birds chirping at dawn, right? This is the electron-driven chorus of the sun. And the birds, they can sense magnetic fields in a very interesting way, like many animals can. And they have magnetite with them, some of them within their heads. And they can sense magnetic fields. So they're literally reading the information that's coming from the sun in music form, right? The sun is sending electrons. The electrons, they make these sounds that the birds pick up and sense like a radar. And the information that these electrons are bringing are information related to creation, sustenance, evolution, and even dissolution of all plants, minerals, animals, everything on the planet that absorbs the light coming from the sun. And as the light comes through, it filters into the magnetosphere and it makes what they call an electron-driven chorus in plasma physics. It's the chorus coming from the plasma waves in the magnetosphere around Earth, right? And they make very similar sounds, if not identical sounds, that the birds copy. And there's a certain frequency that I will someday prove opens up the plant cells of stomata, because it's already been proven that the birds chirping does this. It'll help open up the plant cell stomata, which is the cell in plants that make them grow and flourish and be abundant. And I'm going to show one day that the electron-driven chorus of the magnetosphere also has that same frequency. And the birds are just mimicking that. And it's information coming from the sun. It's a music from the sun. And that music is absorbed by plants. And especially like an hour before dawn, right when the birds start, is when the plants start getting this information to open up and blossom and absorb that first light. It's a huge quantum plasma computer network, the sun and the planets and the life on Earth and the way life just is on planets. And I've been able to tap into it and sense it. Just like birds can sense it and different things can sense it, we can sense it as well. We have magnetite in our bodies even, right? And, you know, I've been invited to speak at the Universal Peace Center in India about some of my findings. I've been invited by the Sun Yogi, Uma Sankar, who I've also had on my show. And I'll be speaking at that in September. And to share some of my revelations about the sun and how I was shown this at a sacred site that's very, very old here in New York, a very ancient red granite dolmen that's even shaped like Sekhmet's face. Really incredible place. Is anybody here in the chat room? This is knowledge you really, literally can't get on any other YouTube out there. And to be here walking around sunrise is a special thing. What's up, my people? I know there's at least 4 of you there. I got 4 thumbs ups already. 4 likes. Is there a chat room here? I can't even pull it up. The sun is bright though. Check this out. The sun the other day when I put the It looked square. Here, let's go up the street a little bit. It literally looked square when I took a picture of it. I mean, when I was taking a video of it the other day. Oh, we got 10 people in the chat room. You should have 10 thumbs up on this shit. Let me see that. The golden hairs of Phobos. The golden hairs of Apollo. The lyre of Orpheus. The harp of Orpheus. The golden chords of the sun. The golden noose of the gods. Even Akhenaten's very name means the intelligence of the light of the sun. He's not really talking about the disk itself. He's talking about the light that's emanating off of it. The intelligence coming from the sun. And all of those rays of the sun contain advanced information that's carrying information that evolves, creates, sustains, and even destroys life of all species. Spiral out.